The problem is that Kamala never shown to embrace any type of blackness aside from attending an HBCU, and even that, in my opinion, this is just my opinion part, is highly questionable. The difference between Mariah Carey, when you look at what she's done throughout her career, she's embraced that side of her. And then you use Tiger Woods as an example, and you said Blasian. The first part of that is black Asian. Hold on. The first part of that is black Asian, which means that he's embracing that black part of him by saying just simply Blasian.
When have you
She
seen Tiger Woods embrace black? I'm just curious.
when didn't you just say he said Blasian, right?
Okay, but when have you seen?
Wait a minute.
Let's see, finish.
By saying Blasian, that's him embracing the black part. As a
Let's
matter of fact, that's him embracing the black part before the Asian part because it's Blasian.
AP.
That's because trying to do it the other way around won't
He just
work.
doesn't sound right. And
You
then
end up
now
with the same word.
she's doing the same thing he's doing. She's saying black, even though neither one of them roll that way. So what is the difference?
She has the difference is she has never, not once, and throughout even her political career, has she really embraced it. She was on a cooking show with Mindy, and you see what she embraced, right? It was
But that doesn't
it's
mean
it's all Indian. And if there was anything to break out, I assure you,
her mom
she's
is
rocking.
Indian. So
So
moms,
fuck her dad then, like
no.
like
So
who
listen,
was a professor at Stanford who she hardly ever speaks of. Like,
listen.
look, what did the one lady say? She's basically her dad is basically a cliff note in her book. Like he's mentioned three times in her book,
So let
but her
me ask
mama's all throughout it.
you, so AP, what is it? What defines a person being black?
Mama raised her.
What defines a person being black? Because
What defines?
I thought it was a race thing. Obviously it's the way you act, but what defines a person being black?
In my opinion,
No, I want the real definition of. It's too many opinions. What's the
it's all an opinion though, Shan. You're like nobody would be able to define that for you. Like I can define hip hop culture. I can define what an African American is. I can define what an Asian American is. I can define what an Indian American is. You're asking what is a black American? The one thing that black Americans
I
have in
didn't
common is a shared
Yeah,
experience.
I
it's
didn't
Like
ask
black. She didn't say what
or
is black
black
American.
so all I can speak of
you.
is the black
Let me clarify,
in
AP. Let me
okay.
clarify. When you get an application and it asks you, "Are you black?" Who
Mm.
is okay with writing down that they black?
If it asks me if I'm black or white, I'm always going to choose black. But it doesn't ask you that. It asks you if you're African American. It asks you if you're Caucasian American. It asks you if you're a non-Hispanic Latino black. It asks you if you're Pacific Islander. It asks you if you're Asian.
Right,
It
but
I don't know if it asks if it's Indian yet, but I'm sure that's probably coming too.
so we agree that there are different forms of black, right? Because she didn't say African American. She said I'm black. So we so if you're saying that Afro Latina can be black,
I
then
didn't say
we
that either.
so what is so you just said on the application they'll ask you are
It,
you
they
black?
don't.
They'll ask you are you Hispanic?
That was in reference to your question. Black to me is a shared experience among a group of people. I don't think that she has a shared experience of anybody on this panel.
None of
What
us were born
But we all had. I
she
can
has a
guarantee
shared
that we can
experience
find some correlations in our own
she
experiences.
has a shared experience with me as a black woman. She is of my sorority
So as two white ladies.
and I too went to an HBCU. So
So did two other white ladies who were also in the same sorority with her or with you guys. They're in the same sorority family. I don't know how y'all classify it. So are they black too?
well, they don't have
so,
African blood in them. There's a
so
difference.
Now,
listen, let
see,
me
now you're redefining it.
No,
You see what
I'm
you
gonna
just
tell
did?
you
defining it. Okay, so I'm defining it like the government
yeah.
defines it. I'm not defining it as an opinion. I'm defining it as how the government defines it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you in terms of black what it typically means in general is typically the word black is an umbrella term for referring to those of the black diaspora, right? So that can include Jamaican. So you have Black Jamaicans, you have Latinas that are Black. So those would be Black Latinos or Afro Latinas. You have Black Indians. So it's any of those that are in that Black diaspora. It's not just African. So Black is the umbrella term that captures all of that. Now, when you want to get more specific, like what you were saying,
ethnicity.
she's not right, Black American. Well, that would be nationality as well. She would be Black American, right? So that is something totally different than when you're talking about when you keep saying like she's Indian or she's Jamaican. Even Jamaicans in America will say that they're Jamaican first. They will say, I'm Jamaican, even if their parents were from Jamaica and they were born here. You'll ask, oh, I'm Jamaican, but they're American. That's what they're identifying, even though they were born here. And I know that, like being in New York, you're around Jamaicans, you're around Puerto Ricans. When you ask them what they are, they go with where their family is from, even if they were born here. And that's the norm. So I think for me, it may be my experience in terms of Blackness and Black people has been different growing up in an area that was so multicultural. So I think in the South, it may be, well, I ain't gonna say maybe, that experience have been very different. So when I'm hearing this, and again, my thing is, I do think policies and stuff that y'all are talking about is more important, right? Than this issue. But it seems like this issue has taken precedence over really. I'm gonna be honest. For me, I spent more time looking at her background than I did necessarily the policies that, because this has taken precedence over all of that. And it, to me, it just doesn't make any sense, because kind of like what Shan was saying, if, and I had said this in our chat when we were talking before, if she did not open her mouth and say a word, what would most people in America think that she is? They would not think that she's Indian until she opens her mouth and say, I'm Indian. They would perceive her to be a Black woman. So even if she said she was or wasn't or not, it's the way other people perceive her. And I think now that she's in the spotlight for this, that's coming up as a way to discredit her or whatever. Whereas if you want to discredit, that's the last thing that should be on the list if we're talking about policy. I think you guys have good points when y'all are talking about other things as related to what she did prior to, her position as vice president.
And I think that should be set aside from being Black, because we know many of Black people who sell out. We know tons of them. This is not a new show. So if you want to say she's they call it a sellout, or if you want to say she don't do nothing, that's a totally different situation, because we know plenty of people who've done that. But it doesn't mean they're not Black. It just means they are sellout.
Clarence Thomas being one of them.
I disagree with that too.
Now is he Black? Is he Black?
I don't consider Clarence Thomas a sellout.
Be Black.
You don't have to, but that doesn't mean a lot of other people do.
I know some that do, but I'm saying I don't.